Recently, I put on a workshop about grief. We talked about what is grief, how does grief manifest itself, and strategies for ways to navigate grief while still living life. Part of the conversation was really rich when we started talking about the type of grief we experience when our pet dies. Or some folks like to use the term animal companion because it signifies that this beautiful animal that's part of our life isn't just a pet. And so when we lose or when there's a death or we lose our animal companion, it's a type of grief that often gets very minimized. And it's something that even our work places don't recognize. Now, some of the more forward-thinking companies will have bereavement days for the loss of an animal companion. But the type of conversation we had around it was, why does our society think that when we lose our animal companion or pet, that it should mean nothing? And we kind of thought about how pets used to be just a part of the farm, right? And in this society. But we have seen over millennia that even like royal people have animal companions or pets that were really meaningful to them. So one of the resources I wanted to share is if you have lost an animal companion or a pet, one of the really great resources, I know this is going to show up backwards, but this is a really great book when it's time to say goodbye, especially for those of us who've had to make the really hard decision to euthanize our animal companion. When I had to put my dad into assisted living because he needed more medical care than I could give him, I inherited his dog. Now, his dog was super familiar with me already because I had taken care of her. Her name was Holly, and I loved her very much already, and then she came to join my family. What was interesting was my family wasn't quite ready to, I don't want a dog, I don't want a pet, I don't want to take care of it. But once Holly got integrated into our family, she was part of our family. And we had to make the really hard decision to euthanize her. Interestingly enough, she actually died 4 months before my dad did. And it took me about 2 years to navigate the grief with her, let alone the compounded grief that I was experiencing with the loss of my dad. So my main message here is when you do lose, I don't like using that term, when they die, recognize that grief is real. Acknowledge that grief is meaningful and important. And it's just as important to get support and help and strategies to navigate that grief as much as it is when you lose a human being. So I'd love to know what your thoughts are. What's been your experience? And why do you think our society thinks that the death of an animal companion isn't worth bereavement days or isn't acknowledged as important?